Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun, as always, is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Hey, I'm concerned.
Oh, you are concerned? We have a word for this. It is also telekinesis.
Yeah, we're talking about what the French fear most, which is telekinesis.
That's right. We've got things moving that are not attached to people moving them.
Good.
It's scary.
That's the Webster's
Dictionary.
definition of telekinesis.
Oh my god, are we at a wedding? Webster's Dictionary describes telekinesis as two people coming together. It's an emotionally impactful episode.
Very. Yeah.
And maybe even a little cocktail wiener.
Let's get it.
Ghostfacers! We visit ghosts, where others were not, we're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghostfacers! We visit nightmare, we visit dread! Ghostfacers! We visit faceless, we visit dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing episode number 14, Nightmare! Oh no! Mommy, can I come in bed with you?
Maybe don't phrase it that way.
Daddy, can I come in bed with you?
No, I mean like the word come. Let's just keep that out of there.
Daddy, can I come in bed with you?
Oh, I don't like this at all. So much of this is so wrong.
Come on, Daddy. We're your stepdaddy.
You're right. This is a nightmare.
Nightmare aired February 7th, 2006. Getting romantic. Going into Valentine's Day soon.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Wait, okay, hang on. February 7th. Okay, sorry. I'm going to save it for next episode because the next one will be on the 14th.
Yeah, it'll be Valentine's Day.
Okay, I'm going to try and think of who I would have been romantic with for that one.
Okay.
So stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, because it's going to be a big fucking question mark.
It'll be a big reveal that
Yeah.
I was alone.
Oh, I thought you meant on the show.
Oh, no. I just meant like in real life. Like at the time when this show was coming out.
Ooh, that'll be... Okay, you're going to have to wait till next week to know.
It's probably just me.
If you want the details. The gooey details.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, Daddy.
So fucked up.
This episode was written by Sarah Gamble and Rael Tucker again. So
Nice.
love that. Directed by Phil Scriccia.
Yeah, I mean, we know that name if we don't know how to say it.
Yes.
We see that name a lot
That's true.
for this show.
Comes up a lot.
Yeah.
This episode was viewed by an estimated 4.27 million
Man,
viewers.
what a roller coaster.
I think it was
Down in the threes, up back into the most of fives, and then back settling into fours.
Here's my theory. The promotion was only the sex scene for the previous episode.
Oh.
And then people watched it and realized that, one, it wasn't more than what was on the promo, and there was no real penetration.
That's a real sticking point for you.
I'm just saying. Well, that's the problem. There was no sticking
pun
point.
intended,
Yeah, that was the issue. Now let's go to your favorite segment. International titles.
All right, let's have it.
So,
Don't let me down, Hungary.
So, for the Finnish, Brazilian, German, Italian, Polish, and Romanian titles, it was all Nightmare.
Sure.
For the Hungarian, get ready for it,
Bad dream.
Nightmares.
Oh, plural. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the French,
Very small change to have made.
the French title,
Okay.
Telekinesis.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Just giving away the farm. That's amazing. That's very funny, actually.
What is this episode about? It is not about nightmares. These are not real nightmares.
Nobody's going to watch if you don't tell them what the big fucking giveaway is.
The French do not have time for little guessing games.
This is the craziest thing. The French have nothing but
Yeah,
time. They've got like a 32-hour work week.
Yeah. I've got cigarettes to smoke. I'm not going to watch something about nightmares.
I'm too busy being racist against North Africans. I can't.
Wow, so specific.
It's true, man. I lived there. I know what it's like.
Wow, go back to Route 666. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, Those were the international titles. TV Guide describes this episode as mysterious deaths in the same family coincide with terrifying visions that grip Sam.
Oh, how tight do they grip him?
I'd rather grip Dean, who discovers...
I wish I was a grip on this show.
Well, I mean, that's a real job. But it's
but I mean...
it's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's not like a fluffer.
The director says cut, and you just go and you just squeeze them, and just hold them tight.
Yeah. Oh, if that was a job.
I need you to keep Jensen and Jared warm between takes.
Get the grip.
Hold them. Get the grip.
Who discovers that he and the person causing the terrifying visions share an unusual bond.
Ooh.
They both are like really into like that second Spice Girls album. So it's an unusual bond. They both collect the Spice Girls stickers that were in the bubblegum wrappers.
Wow, this is all very specific.
Yeah. Speaking of specific, let's talk about the feature music from this episode.
Yeah. It's 2006.
That's right.
Sexy Back.
Again, that would have been better in the previous episode.
Sure. Well, that's true. Oh, because Jared does have a sexy back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Crush my larynx with those shoulder blades.
It's like the
John Oliver. Yeah. The video that came out where him finally Adam Driver being on the show and calling him out on it, and he's just like, "Yeah, tell me I'm wrong."
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a version of that on this show, but it'll be in the form of a cease and desist.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we were ever so lucky to have Jensen on this show, let's hope to God he doesn't listen to this first.
I'm sure he doesn't.
Especially because, like, episode 1, like, even if he was just like, what am I getting myself into? Is this a piece of shit? Then he listens to episode 1 and we're in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, not good. So, featured music. 2 + 2 = question mark by Bob Seger.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Lucifer by Bob Seger.
Ooh.
And Money and Dealers by Flicker Stick.
Okay.
I barely know.
Okay.
So
why wouldn't you just go for the Seeger trifecta?
Well, that's
get fucking turn the page in there or something.
It's funny you say that. Director Philip Segricia personally chose to use 2 early Bob Seger songs because he was from Michigan and Nightmare took place in Saginaw, Michigan.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
In addition to this, Segricia asked his sister to send him coffee mugs and baseball caps from Michigan to give believability to the setting.
Oh, wow. So, sorry, he's using like personal items or props and stuff on the show?
Oh, yeah.
That's fun. I like that.
Giving some Michigan love in there. Go Blue.
Yeah.
That's right, baby.
Oh, Wolverines.
That's right. I've been to 1 game and it was great.
Yeah. I've just pretended to like them for a little bit.
My favorite thing was to go and crash other people's tailgate parties, like the really big ones.
Yeah.
And just pretend like you're...
Tailgates are dope.
It's the best part.
That's half the fun of going to Bills games.
I know.
When I like going to Bills games.
When I say I watched the football game, I never actually saw a single play of the game.
Yeah. How many hoops did they make?
Yeah. Okay, first of all, they got yellow cards. You could tell by the violin. I was waiting for that to rev back up there.
Oh, God.
That's right. So, before we get into some of our thoughts on today's episode, let's open up Dad's journal and learn some of the real-world lore about today's monster.
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about the French title for this episode. Yeah. Telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
That's a good French accent.
This is what I'm here for.
Yeah, so
see our telekinesis. To our telekinesis.
Oh no.
Most the porn I watch is nieces.
Oh no.
It's what's on there. It's
good
not
Lord. Telekinesis. It's Greek roughly for far off
television kinesis.
Yeah, for television kinesis. If for like far off movement or movement from afar.
Oh, that's it?
Roughly, yeah.
Oh.
Like telephone, teleport.
Oh, okay.
It means far off, basically.
Okay, fair.
Academically, you will also encounter a term called psychokinesis, which Greek-wise is more like
when you see your mother move from afar.
It's like soul or spirit and movement.
Oh.
I did get it. I'm moving past.
I'm dropping bombs. That's
So psychokinesis was first coined in 1914. It was later used in 1934 to describe mentally moving or influencing objects or events without the use of physical energy.
Yeah.
Technically, in the study of parapsychology, there is a difference between telekinesis and psychokinesis.
Oh.
Difference is that telekinesis, it refers to moving and manipulating objects with no physical interaction.
Yeah.
Which makes it like supernatural.
Oh.
Psychokinesis would be like the study or the ability of how your mental abilities can project outward physically. Okay. So you're not physically intervening and moving a pencil, but maybe you could project energy or something like that.
Yeah.
Psychokinesis is kind of like inching closer to what it would be if it were scientific, and telekinesis is like full on made up.
Okay.
That's a very rough kind of version of it. There have been numerous scientific studies of the phenomenon, none of which have yielded repeatable, verifiable, and falsifiable results, which is what you need for scientific testing. There have been lots of real-world attempts, though, to make it happen or to see if it exists. Military studies.
There was the men who stare at goats.
There's that, but it was also a thing where they wanted to see if they could have an application where you could use it to jam weapons from short range.
Oh, interesting.
So you would use your psychokinesis not to like throw someone against the wall, but as you were running up, you'd be like, you can't squeeze your trigger.
Wow.
Like they
That's
wanted to see if that was a
specific.
thing you could do. A key, again, there was no demonstrable proof of even the existence of these abilities, let alone controllable applications.
Yeah.
A key criticism of this is precisely that. If it were a natural phenomenon, there should be minute evidence of it in everyday life, not only in targeted specific experiments.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist in either way, so it's highly unlikely to exist.
Yeah.
You know, like if this were a thing where you could mentally project energy, we should accidentally see it.
Yeah.
Not just like, I'm going to try and do something.
Yeah.
It should happen in some degree. There's no evidence of it in any way. It's also a violation of several laws of physics, including the inverse square law, which governs the dissipation and radiation of energy over distance. The second law of thermodynamics, which is that the total entropy of a closed system can never decrease. So basically, you're always losing some amount of energy in every transaction. And the law of conservation of linear momentum, which is that momentum cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred or transformed from one form to another.
Is every week Dad's Journal is just you explaining why none of these things are scary enough because they can't happen?
Well, I mean, for some of these things, that's all there is.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about ghost lore, I mean, personally, I don't believe in ghosts, but there's a mountain of ghost lore.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff to talk about there where it's like, and this is like, in this part of the world, this is how they believe spirits work or things like, there's actual stuff there. For something like telekinesis, it just straight up doesn't exist. And that's kind of all there is to talk about. We know what telekinesis is, but there's not a ton of lore beyond that. I mean, if we're talking about examples from pop culture or things like that, I guess you could say that like one of the quote unquote tells is like mental strain. In many cases, I think they're actually describing something more like psychokinesis, which is your
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah. You're projecting energy outward. That's why you would see things where, like in Stranger Things or like with Maxwell Lord in DC Comics, using those mental abilities. You see like the nosebleed or something. Yeah. It's that there is a sort of physical thing being exerted, but it's not. You're not grabbing something and moving it. In pop culture, that seems to be more how that works. You know, in superheroes and that, there's usually like, they try to apply something scientific to it. It's very rarely just, I am telekinetic. It's like, I'm telekinetic with metal, like Magneto. So then you're talking about magnetic fields. You can almost like dress it up in science. Just raw, I just move things because I move things is really rare in pop culture.
Wow.
It's usually they try to dress it up as something else. There's a very famous famous spoon bending guy called Uri Geller. He would bend spoons.
Yes.
Someone offered a bunch of money if he could do it under controlled circumstances, and he wasn't able to.
Yeah.
He'd never been able to. But it also, I was reading something that it would basically invoke like a hitherto unknown force of physics. Like if
it could happen, it would change science.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so while the evidence says this is not a thing, if it were, it would like completely unravel physics as we understand them.
Yeah.
So if you want to keep an open mind, you can keep an open mind that way. I mean, we've unraveled our understanding of physics in the past.
I mean, science in general is constantly being changed based on what we currently know and know.
Totally. But then that's the other weird piece of this is that usually you would set something up scientifically and then you'd be able to prove it or falsify it.
Yeah.
You can't do that with this yet.
At least not based on what our knowledge is and theoretically trying to figure things out.
But
I mean,
it's
that's the
also,
other thing.
yeah, and also about like the scientific process.
Yeah.
If you can't do it in a way where then scientifically you can prove it doesn't work, then you have to assume it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can't just, it's the faith versus proof kind of conundrum.
Totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, why don't we get into today's episode?
Let's do it. Nightmare.
This is the first time we get a previously on Supernatural.
Right. And we're seeing like the shot of like John talking to them and telling them to stay away and all.
So we're not. This is not a 22 years ago.
No.
This is a previously on,
and it's very specific. We're seeing like particular scenes that are related. We're seeing like Sam's visions of Jessica's death. We're seeing stuff about John, and we're seeing Sam talking about like having visions at all.
It's a big. That's a huge precursor to eventually what will become the then.
Totally, yeah. We're almost at the then now stage of the show. Yeah,
it's really exciting. So we're in a garage in Saginaw, Michigan, and a man pulls into his home garage.
Yeah,
and the garage door closes behind him by itself. And that's the end. That's the spookiness. It was a haunted garage door.
Does
the whole
it
time.
close by itself?
Yes.
Okay, he doesn't hit a button or something?
Because he goes to turn around.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Got Michigan plates even, the blue and the yellow.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We're like pointing it out. Like, it's like, hey, they did a good job. But we're only doing that because there's so many other episodes where it's like, oh, you really missed something here.
The car door locks, the door closes behind him on itself, and the car starts pumping out exhaust fumes.
Yeah.
This is a big fear I have.
It's certainly a reasonable fear. That's sort of the asphyxiation, the carbon monoxide thing, but it's also such a slow way to die.
I mean, it's also not very painful, though. I think you just sleep. You just fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, you might feel yourself kind of struggling for breath for a little bit.
We should do some tests.
Yeah, we should. But you know what I mean? Like, as far as like a supernatural death goes, this is slow.
Yeah, yet they still have a blood splatter at the end. No?
That would be really something. Yeah, like nothing explodes. The car doesn't like. It's not like the car speeds up and rams him into the house.
No, it just locks the doors and runs and like.
He just starts coughing and then he passes out and he just dies in the smoke in his garage. It's really messed up, actually.
It's a very dark thing just because of how real it is. But what we find out was this wasn't real. This was a nightmare that Sam was having.
Yeah. Oh, a nightmare. I get it. Yeah, Sam wakes up.
This wasn't actually a nightmare. This is telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
Sam wakes up from his dream in the hotel. He's been having a dream about this man's death. He wakes up Dean and insists that they have to head to Michigan immediately.
Now, this is partly a thing with like the way TV shows us things versus what is.
I love that shot too, going into the lamp and then coming out of the cars.
Very cool shot. TV shows us a vision the way we see TV, where there's multiple angles and things like that. But who knows how Sam actually experienced it? But nothing in that vision tells us that it's in Michigan somewhere. But Sam seems
we saw the license plate. If our vision is technically,
that's true. Yeah, I guess if Sam has a multicam vision,
well, because he even says like he calls up the specific license plate.
You're right. Sorry, you're right. But still, like, Michigan's a big state. Like, the idea of, like, finding this specific house, he even knows what it looks like.
Well, that's why he called about the license plate to find out who was registered to.
All right, fine. You win, show.
Yeah, give me another one, MacGyver.
You win for now, show.
Dean is skeptical, but goes along with the plan due to how
just
panicked
like me.
Sam is.
I am a Dean.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Going from the license plate he saw in his dream. So we're in the Impala. Sam contacts the police to get the name of the car's owner, Jim Miller, and his address.
Does he pose as police when he's doing that? Like, will the police just tell you where people live?
I think he was just asking.
Do the police just dox you?
I don't know.
Was
That's
this
a good question.
pre-doxing?
Yeah, maybe. 2 hours later, they arrive and they find they are too late. Jim Miller is dead.
He sure is.
And this is a very interesting thing because this is the latest credit arrival in the entire series. We still haven't gotten the credits.
Oh, because they just wanted to let this play out.
Yeah, isn't this really interesting? Watch how late it goes. Because we get sort of, we're in front of the Jim Miller's house.
Oh, right.
All this stuff happens.
And then Supernatural.
But it's like not like a bit, like you already saw the death, which is usually the thing. But because you go from the death into his
Straight
premonition.
into the thing. Yeah, I guess normally we would expect the vision,
Yeah.
then the title card, and then them driving.
Yeah.
But we got all of that first. Yeah, you're right.
And we still haven't even gotten the actual credits yet. Now
and
we're
Sam
getting
is shaken.
Yeah.
Because he's seen this happen and they show up and it has happened. You know?
5 minutes into the episode, we're only just now getting the credits.
The neighbors are all like gathered around and they're like 100% believing that he killed himself. And they're like, he just seems so normal. Why would he do it?
Sam is convinced some spirit murdered Jim Miller, though, even though everybody thinks that he just committed suicide.
Because that's the vision that he had. He knew this guy didn't want to die.
Yeah.
He was seeing him trying to unlock the car, trying to stop the engine, all those kind of things. So yeah.
Also, like, it's crazy.
They notice like the mom and the son. They're just outside the house and stuff.
Fucking looky-loos. Like, maybe that's an American thing or something. But if like one of my neighbors like suddenly had all a bunch of police cars, I'd look from the window. I wouldn't all
there's a lot of
surround
people like in the street.
Yeah, standing around their house, being like, "I know this guy, but I'm not going to try to be comforting."
And
like,
we're not even getting like the crowd control cop, like you see in other TV and movies, where it's like, step back, like stay behind the line. Like we're not even getting that. Yeah, you're right. Actually. Is this kind of like voyeurism of tragedy a thing in the States, or is this just TV?
I have no idea. I mean, that's a very good question. Listeners, anybody die in your neighborhood and you walked up to their house and just stood outside of it?
Were you a looky-loo?
Yeah. Did you get your rocks off on the...
Oh my God.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
So at any rate, Sam is trying to convince Dean that this vision is true. Dean's like, so what is it? Is it a spirit? Is it a ghost? Like, blah, blah, blah. And Sam's like, I have no idea, but something is happening here.
Yeah.
And Dean's like, I can't.
I call bullshit. Yeah.
I call bullshit, but I also can't relate. I'm worried, like visions, really, man? Like,
yeah. Like we're back on this. Like I was trying to ignore that was even a thing. So they say, all right, well, we'll check out the house. We'll talk to the family. And Sam's like, they're devastated.
I mean, it's nice of the show to call out how insensitive they have. Like, even last episode where they were like, we're so sorry for your loss. Can we talk to you for a couple of minutes about
exactly.
your husband's death? So it's nice to see they're learning something.
But they go in the next day, and the way that they sort of, or more gently find a way to get into the house is Sam introduced himself as Father Simmons and Father Freely, the bassist and former lead guitarist of the rock band Kiss.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Very funny.
Again, two very young priests show up.
I mean, that's a bit more realistic,
but
though.
also, like, do priests, like, scan the obits and then go to your house? Is that a service priests provide?
I mean, I've never encountered that, though. I've never, like, had somebody murdered
if someone
in my house.
dies, do priests just show up and be like, were you Catholic?
If you were close, if you were part of a church, I think that stuff happens.
Well, but then shouldn't they know that these aren't their priests?
Well, maybe they're just...
I guess what I mean is like the service sent us.
Yeah.
Like... We're part of the grief response unit.
Yeah.
Like
the GRU's here for you.
Flash a priest badge. Like, we're gonna need to ask you about how you're coping with your feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And who's this? We've got the actress Beth Broderick, most famous for her role as Zelda Spellman one of the two Sabrina's unconventional witchy aunts on a popular TV series, Sabrina.
Oh, yeah.
The teenage witch from 1996 to 2003.
That is her.
Yeah. The moment that when Dean grabs a cocktail sausage and eats it, it was improvised by Jensen Ackles on the day. The sausages were technically edible, but had only been intended to be there as props, and Jensen recalls that they didn't taste good at all. But the action led to the writers scripting similar stuff, which helped develop a defining characteristic of Gene Winchester, his love for snacks and fast food, and his penchant to eat practically anything in front of him.
I like that he's got like the Brad Pitt thing where it's like, if I'm on screen, I'm going to be eating.
Yeah.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, it's true. Very well known for that. So yeah, they're talking. So the boys are talking to the aunt, the mother.
Yeah,
who I believe is it stepmother or is it an actual mother?
Oh, step.
I feel like it was step, but I
step?
can't remember.
To the son, Max.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they're so bad at being priests.
Like, you got a nice house here. Like, we moved in about a year ago. Did they say?
So this is Dean. Said problem with these old houses. Bet you've had all sorts of headaches. You can tell he's
smell
going
sulfur. Yeah,
smell sulfur. Lights going out.
Cold spots.
This is about as smooth as they ever get with this, though. At least it was kind of part of a conversation.
Yeah, at least.
But she just goes, no, the house has been perfect. Dean's like, no ghosts, no spirits. All right.
Doesn't sound like our kind of thing.
But I mean, it's hard even for Dean to deny, though. Like, even if it wasn't their kind of thing, why are they there? Why did Sam see it? How did he know the license plate? How did he get them there? Like,
there's got to be something
is there. So I think Dean kind of knows that on a level, you know?
Yeah. Sam's talking to Max. This is the second time this actor, Brendan Fletcher, plays a character with the last name Miller. The second time was in the TV show Bates Motel.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So Sam sort of...
He's good. I really like this actor.
He's great.
Playing Max. He's very, very good in this episode.
I mean, this is really a testament. This is really like his episode, I think.
It's like an acting episode.
Yeah, a lot of monologuing, a lot of emotionality.
Yeah, totally.
He acted the hell out of this episode.
Yeah. And he's talking about like getting... Am I making this up? He gets kind of like...
I mean, later on, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We addressed that.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. But you can tell the kid's disturbed by something, sort of like bad relationship with his parents.
Yeah, maybe
Sam's like seeing that in him already. They're starting to see connections.
Yes.
So Dean's upstairs and he pulls out an infrared thermal scanner, which is the first and only time Dean has ever used this.
This is so much more high tech.
Which looks kind of like a modified EMF scanner fitted with a screen display that a green laser points out of.
Yeah.
It's never ever used this tool ever again.
It's not. So strange. It's so
I think it's just it's too high tech for how low tech these guys are.
But you don't even yeah. Oh,
it's weird. Just too advanced of technology for them. I think that's why they probably never brought it back. These guys work best when it's sort of like everything's sort of slapped and duct taped together, and this is such like modern looking technology.
It's true. It looks like he bought it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam comes and gets Dean and they peace out.
They find sort of nothing in the house's like history that shows anything. They can't find anything in the house itself. Nothing bad's ever happened in this house since it was built. The land, there was no graveyards, it's not a battlefield, not tribal lands of any sort of kind of atrocity.
We're going back through basically every episode of Supernatural.
Which
like,
is kind
was
of
it
fun.
this? Was it this?
These are the things we've experienced, and they were none of those.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a demon. It wasn't a poltergeist.
And Sam starts to have starts to get headaches.
Yeah. Yeah, and Sam's like, so it was just a coincidence that I dreamed this and we got
Nothing
here?
Is here, yeah.
Dean, I think, is ready to be like, yep, great, coincidence. But I do think on some level he knows it can't be, but he really wants there to be an easy thing. Because he's worried about Sam, you know?
But then the headaches start to hit Sam stronger and stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, he said maybe it's not about the house. Maybe it's about Jim, the guy that died.
Yeah. Suddenly the headache gets so bad. Sam actually is starting to keel over.
Yeah.
And he gets a vision. Roger Miller's apartment. He sees a window open.
Yeah, so Roger Miller, we saw him like at the scene. He's the one that answered the door when they showed up as priests. He's like a friend or an uncle or something
I
like
believe,
that. Yeah.
But so he sees he's in his apartment. He sees a window open and goes up to it and closes it. Which is funny. You get that sort of like you're waiting for the bad thing to happen.
Yeah.
This episode does this a lot. Oof. It's similar to like the hand inside the carburetor thing.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. It's like that.
Where you're just like, oh, when's the thing going to happen?
Oh, fuck that carburetor.
So he goes, closes the window, but then suddenly the window reopens all on its own. This is not like a window that would like have like a spring thing or anything.
No, this is like one of those old kind of wooden windows that you would expect in like an old apartment building or something like that.
Absolutely. Roger notices that the door reopens again.
And it's also opening up, like
all
against
the way.
gravity.
Yes.
Like, it's not sliding to the side or something like that, right?
So he puts down his beer and goes up to it again, and so he's just like, I mean, that would freak me the hell out.
Yeah.
But he just goes, he starts trying to shut it again, and suddenly can't shut it now. He can't find a way. So he puts his head through the window underneath it and examines it from the outside.
I don't know what he thought he was going to do from this angle.
Also, the speed in which this would have to happen, the window comes down and decapitates him.
Because also, like, window's not sharp at the bottom.
No, it's a blunt.
It's like a 2x4.
Yeah.
Like,
for a 2x4 to have to decapitate somebody.
Yeah, I mean, pretty messed up. But we get a classic supernatural blood spatter.
But we
Blood
find
on the
out
window.
This is not real life. This is just fantasy. Like a landslide, skip from reality. That's right, it's telekinesis. The brothers head for Roger's address to intercept him outside of his house.
Yes.
Because they think maybe this time they'll be able to, they're not driving 2 hours, maybe they'll get there within enough time.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you know, Sam is saying, like, I'm getting freaked out. I'm not just having these visions when I'm asleep. It's happening just like while I'm awake now. They're getting intense. They're getting painful. And Dean's like, you'll be fine. He's saying it to...
Maybe it was something you ate.
He's saying it to be...
Comforting,
but like even Dean doesn't believe it anymore.
But also, it's starting to sound like a supernatural thing.
Well,
which I think is a whole other issue for them, which is why I think partly why he's trying to ignore it.
Yeah. So, he's saying you can't tell me this doesn't freak you out, and
he doesn't want to address it. Like
he just says this doesn't freak me out, but like he's lying. But he also says, whatever it is, we'll figure it out. But something is worrying Dean. So and now we cut to
Roger's still alive.
Roger is walking home.
Got his groceries in a paper bags.
Yeah, so the guys just pull up in the car and they're like, hey, Mr. Miller. And he's like, what are you guys, missionaries?
Yeah.
He's like, why are you at my fucking house? And rightfully, he gets and closes the door behind
the
him.
Apartment. Yeah, the locks the door behind him in the apartment because he's just like, I don't want your help.
Yeah,
because he thinks he's just like these really overzealous priests. He doesn't
what's
know.
wrong with you guys? It's like nighttime. Now is not the time to convert.
Yeah, for real. So the brothers get to the house. They break into the side door and run up the fire escape.
Yeah.
Hoping that they're going to be able to stop this from happening because they know what's supposed to happen. They've got limited time. And they also don't know what the time frame is from when he sees these things to when they happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or if it's the same or if it varies or, we don't know that Sam gets the visions like exactly 40 minutes out or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. But also like, did them talking to him change what was going to happen? Like, you just don't know, right?
They hear something.
And the blood splatter.
It's too late. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah. He's once again decapitated.
So crazy.
Just through a fucking window. Like, good lord.
Really awful way to go.
Yeah.
No one else in the apartment building seems to have noticed, but this is one of very few times we actually see them concerned about leaving evidence.
Yeah.
So they're like, our fingerprints or stuff. There's blood everywhere. We got to wipe our stuff down. So they're wiping down like
that's the thing, you really don't see them, do you ever?
railings and that. Dean is like going to go inside, but he's got like the handkerchief, so he's not leaving fingerprints on the window and stuff like that.
They go inside because they're looking to see maybe there was some evidence, but traces of ghostly activity are not to be found. Yeah. Dean suspects the family itself might be cursed.
Yeah. It's connected to the family.
It's clearly like the uncle, the dad, like it's something to do with this family, because you're not going to randomly go after. I mean, it's not the house. It's not.
Yeah, and Sam is like naming other monsters, banshees and Anjax. Yeah. He names. But he goes, the men in their family are dying. Maybe there's something curse-worthy. Sure, let's try and figure it out. But it still doesn't address Sam's connection.
No.
They still haven't figured that piece out. Sam says, I have one thing in common with these people. And he says, both our families are cursed.
Ugh. Even that's my eye rolling.
Dean, again, should be like, our family's not cursed. And he goes, we just had our dark spots. We're just like, yeah, was your mom like on the ceiling and in flames?
And my partner.
And my partner. And we can't find our dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've, got these visions, but no, we're fine. So they go back to the house and visit Max, who has basically nothing to add. He's being sort of cagey about the whole thing.
And he's saying he's told people to go away because everyone keeps bringing casseroles.
Yeah, they've got piles of casseroles on the counter.
Which does seem to be what our society is deemed like a grief gift.
Yeah. It's weird, yeah.
Which it makes kind of practical sense. Like, you probably don't feel like cooking right now, but it's also like, you can't all do this. I'm not going to eat 40 casseroles.
I mean,
I would.
Yeah. I was waiting for that.
If I'm ever grieving, the rule is 2 casseroles each.
Day?
No, person.
Oh.
1 casserole. Oh, I'm sorry. Is my grief not deep enough for you?
Who's got to die to get a casserole around here?
And another one.
Yeah.
So at any rate, the boys are there. They kind of press.
Sir, why did you kill your family? I was just really hungry.
I just didn't feel like cooking.
Yeah.
They start pressing Max a little bit about his relationship with his father and with his uncle.
He does mention that his family used to live in an old house across town and Uncle Roger lived next door.
Yeah. And he keeps saying, like, no, the family was normal or whatever. And every time he uses the word normal,
it's normal.
It's not.
Wait, what?
Oh, no. Yeah, Dean even says nobody's family is happy and normal.
Yeah, because he knows where this conversation's going to go, and he's just like, fucking just don't even start, Sam. Like,
yeah, so he says, we're going to go find out what their life was really like. We're going to go check out the old neighborhood, ask the neighbors, stuff like that.
Absolutely. So they go to the old house.
Yeah.
Visiting the address, they talk to a neighbor who reveals that Joe and Roger both beat Max regularly.
Yeah.
While the stepmother, Alice, did nothing.
Right.
There's very much like that poor kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could tell this neighbors is even like, I probably should have done something. But like, it's the fact that after like 20 years, or I guess they only moved, like, what, 5 years ago or something?
I think so. And the kid's only like 16 or something.
But
right?
still, it was like, he's talking about how like the dad or whatever was a mean drunk and all this kind of stuff. Broke his arm 2 times.
That I know of.
This is very, very messed up. So this is starting to piece together kind of like a motive-y kind of thing. Be like, well, Max is not telling us something. Max has been like beaten a bunch. Maybe whatever this curse is because they were beating Max.
Well, exactly, right?
The neighbor says he called the police a bunch, so at least he did something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and they say the real mom died when he was like...
Yes. A car accident or something?
Sam is getting another vision. Yeah. He's getting bad headache. And he looks over at the other house.
Everything goes white, and suddenly we're seeing Max is back at home, and the stepmother is cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Max is sitting in the corner and suddenly starts confronting his mother, basically saying, like, you didn't stop them, you didn't do anything.
And the knife moves by itself, floats up, goes pointed right at her.
It's some good special effects for this show.
Actually, I was going to say, like, this, I would say this same effect, even on, like, The Flash, would look worse than this.
Yeah.
Very creepy
God.
Of, like...
Oh, the knife literally pops the
tear. That's so scary. But it also demonstrates, like, the level of control that Max has. Like, that's scary. He's acting the shit out of this scene. Where he says, like, you're not really sorry, you just don't want to die. He's got all this rage, and he drives the knife through her
skull.
head.
Yeah, it's.
But he's also like, I think you also get the sense, at least the way he's acting, like he also doesn't want to be doing this killing, but he has no outlet. He has been abused for so long, he does not know what to do.
And that's when, so we go back to the boys, and Sam's going, Max, it's Max.
Yeah.
Like, from everything I'm seeing, it's Max. But Sam partially sympathizes with Max because what he went through and their shared sort of psychic abilities.
Yeah, and Sam's like, it's telekinesis. Max is the one doing this. We gotta, like, put a stop to this. But he's like, Sam is like, but we're so alike. And he's like, we both have psychic abilities. We're both, wait for it,
he's a monster.
That's what Dean says. But Sam is saying, like, Sam sees, he might not have been beaten or whatever, but he sees himself as, like, sort of emotionally abused by John and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that is something that Sam identifies with. It's obviously not nearly as extreme as what has happened to Max, but that's it. Dean is saying, like, we have to put him down. He's a monster. And Sam is saying, like, we have to try and deal with this with some level of compassion. Obviously, we have to stop him, but, like, this is more complicated than just, like, a werewolf or something.
Yeah, it's not
like,
a creature. It's a human being with sort of abilities we weren't aware of.
And with, like, scars and hurt and, like, you know, he's been pushed into this to a certain extent.
It's more complicated than just that, right? So they arrive at the house as Sam's visions start to come true. They bust into the kitchen, interrupting Max before he can kill Alice.
Yeah.
Fathers.
But they just show up in their regular clothes, which is kind of funny.
They ask Max to go outside and talk with them. Just a second. But that's when Max suddenly notices Dean's gun.
Yes. I mean, Dean, prepared, that's good.
Over-prepared and maybe...
not good at hiding
the
gun, that's a problem.
Yeah,
because they almost de-escalate this situation until that happens, and Max is like, no, I don't know how you guys know about this or how you're here, but nope.
They do such a good job in this sort of part of the episode too, with, like, raising up the tension and like, every time I watch this, it's so, like, you can just feel your heart beating out of your chest, because you really feel like this kid is, like, about to, like, freak the fuck out and kill everybody.
And as soon as he sees that gun, like, he's playing it well, because it's like, it's fear, right?
Yeah.
There's anger in there too, but he's afraid. He's
fight.
afraid of what he's done, of what he's going to have to face, of what he might do next. He's afraid that Dean is going to kill him. So he closes the doors and the windows. He telekinetically, like, throws the stepmother. He's acting the shit out of this. He's so good. I'm finding it hard to, like, talk about it because I'm just, like, really drawn in. I'm just watching him.
Sam tries to get through to him and get Max to let Dean and Alice leave. Max agrees that they can talk alone, but that Dean and Alice have to wait upstairs.
And Sam is saying, like, I'm having visions of you.
Yeah.
We are connected. We both have...
I was drawn here.
We both have abilities.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's trying to take those things that he believes connects him and Max and make them actually connect him and Max.
And Max is just like, nobody can help me. There's nothing that you can do.
Yeah.
Like, he's shaking the whole house.
Because it's got that kind of like that Jean Grey quality of like he has great control because we've seen him mess with that knife.
But also his emotionality is so connected to
that like he could like we don't know what the extent of his power is.
Yeah.
If he gets angry enough, does the whole neighborhood sink into a hole in the earth?
Like who knows?
Does
right?
the house just like vaporize? Like we don't know what he can do.
Yeah.
There's a real like fear and a tension in that the episode does a really good job with.
So Dean takes an injured Alice out while Sam tries to convince Max not to kill his stepmom.
Yeah. And while Sam is sitting calmly to talk to him, Max is like just casually like messing with a letter opener, which is like telekinetically, which is very scary, very creepy.
Just like twisting it around, and it's very, very scary. But Max reveals that his dad was beating, not only, we already knew he was beating him, but he was beating him up to a week earlier.
Yeah, like still.
Like, because they're like, oh, we know that your dad used to do this to you. And he's like, used to.
Yeah.
He's like, I still have bruises all over my body. Like, he was doing this a week ago.
Messed up.
I mean, it's such, you really feel for the kid at the same time of being really, really terrified by him.
Yeah.
Max talks about how his mother died in the nursery with a baby Max, pinned to the ceiling and burning to death like Sam's own mother.
Oh my God.
So now it's like, it's not even just a Winchester thing, because this is the first time that Sam's had like full, because at this point, this whole episode, Sam's going like, I'm connected to this guy, and now I find out he's got a similar sort of telekinetic thing that's really connecting to me. And it's like, but this is like taking 10 steps forward.
Yeah, totally.
Not only are we connected, but the exact same thing that happened that changed my entire family's life happened to somebody else too.
Yeah.
As a viewer for the first time, you're going like, wait,
it blows the whole thing wide open.
Like, I can't even remember what a first time watching this was like, but I mean, it really changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big turning point. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. At some point Sam says like, why didn't you just leave? And Max is like, why would I, it's not about getting away. They're still out there. Like you can see it's all festered in him. Like there's no version of this where Max is in a place where he can heal. It's all rage. It's all vengeance.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Justifiably.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, he's sort of past the point of,
like people need to be.
If Dean were having this conversation, Dean would have tried to kill him by now because he'd be like, can't help him.
Yeah.
Sam has a lot more riding on it too because they have this connection.
Because he doesn't want to be a monster himself, right? Like if somebody who's gone through the same thing.
It's important to Sam to see that like this is not the path for him, you know? Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, Sam finds out that his mother died in the exact same way. And Sam also reveals that's how his own mother died, because he sees this as the way to sort of like show that they're connected.
Yeah. Crazy. Oh. Yeah, because Max is saying like, he would just get drunk and say that that's how my mom died.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's like, what insane kind of thing or whatever. And Sam's like,
that's real.
It's real. It happened.
This actually happened to you. And even Max is like, your dad must be drunk of mine. He's like, no. It's the exact same thing. Something killed our mothers.
And it's like, we both have abilities.
Like, what are the odds?
Like, we both have abilities. I'm connected to you. The same thing happened to both of our mothers. Like, we are connected here. Yeah. Your
abilities, they started 6 or 7 months ago, right? Out of the blue. And Max goes, how did you know that? Because that's when mine started. Yours must have been further along, but still, this means something, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, you and I are connected. We were chosen.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those episodes where it's like, oh, this is the big story.
Yeah.
You think it just starts as like, it's about Sam's vision. So you know it's sort of connected, but you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is like the big story. This is about what John is doing. This is about that night.
Yeah, it's like it's more than just something that happened to their family. This is like a thing.
And he kind of is getting through to Max briefly here. Maybe for a moment, Max feels like he's not completely alone here. But
Max refuses to let it go.
But it turns. There's that kind of like window, and then you see him just fall back into that
it's like, no,
pit,
it's well, you can't just get over that kind of trauma in an instant, right?
And for a stranger who claims,
like he's like, I'm scared
equally
all of
crazy
the time.
things.
I'm just waiting for the next time I'm gonna get beat.
Yeah,
I'm just tired of being scared. The nightmares won't end. These are not my nightmares, though.
No, my nightmare is telekinesis.
My nightmare is an inaccurate
what if
TV
all
description.
French people are afraid of telekinesis, so that's their word for nightmare?
Oh.
It's not, by the way, but what if it was?
I woke up in a sweat from telekinesis I had last night.
You know, sometimes you have a dream, sometimes you have a telekinesis. So, Sam keeps trying to talk him out of it. Max goes, no.
Yeah.
Psychically pushes him into a closet and moves like a big fucking buffet thing in front of it so that Sam can't get out. And he goes upstairs and he's going to kill his stepmom. And probably Dean.
Drawing a gun with his telekinesis ability as Dean sort of tries to come after him. Dean just gets sent across the room.
Throws Dean into a wall. Grabs Dean's gun that he still has.
Yeah. First he goes to use with his hand. We get a son of a... We almost get a son of a bitch. But I love that he lets go of the gun and you get the gun held up in the air.
Yeah.
It's some decent effects. Like, I'm really impressed with these.
It's pretty good for that long ago and for TV.
Yeah.
This looks really good.
Yeah. But it's also like you could tell it's not strings.
Yes, it's definitely animated, but
super well done. And
he full on kills Dean.
Dean
shoots
is
him
dead.
right between the eyes.
Dean's shot in the head. And I'm assuming that
it was a vision.
It was a vision. I wonder if that was a commercial when it first aired.
The first time that I saw this, I was like,
what?
Even though I've been watching the whole episode,
and it's been visions after visions.
I was like,
because they didn't show into the vision the way that, like, through the headache thing.
Yeah.
What sneaky little bastards.
Yeah. So we cut to Sam in the closet.
A frantic Sam concentrates and manages to telekinetically open the closet because he's freaking out now.
Yeah, he
like,
does
Dean
manage to
can't
actually
die.
move the dresser or whatever that was in front of the closet.
Much
doors.
to his disbelief, he runs upstairs to see the same scene start to play out.
Yeah.
Sam busts in and appeals to Max, who realizes he can't fix anything. Yeah. There's no way that he's going to be able to fix this through just killing everybody. It's not going to get better.
Oh, man. This Max kid. Again, just doing great work here.
I know. I every time I watch this episode,
so many things happening in his face and in his movements. It's like anguish and pain and fear and rage and power and like he's cycling through all of them. It's really something. And he
shoots himself
in the moment where
head.
Sam thinks he's gotten through to him, he flips the gun around telekinetically and kills himself.
It's crazy.
Really, really scary. Really messed up. We cut to the stepmother saying, Max attacked me. He threatened me with a gun. It's clearly like a rehearsed story.
Yeah.
And she says that Sam and Dean are family friends, and she called them as soon as Max arrived, blah, blah, blah. So basically they've made up a story because they can't say, oh, he was telekinetic, officer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Usually they show that part of the story. This one, they sort of skip past it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what happened? How did this happen? And she's like, I don't know. He just had the gun. He showed up with it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming at some point Dean's going to have to steal that gun back because that's his like pearl in line.
Yeah,
like,
it's true. It's his nice gun. Yeah. Yeah. Did they have to get it back from evidence?
I don't know. They don't really talk about it, but
yeah, that's a good point.
Our family friends are going to help dispose of that gun for you. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We'll take it over to the precinct in our car.
Yeah, exactly. We got the muscle car. You'll get there faster. We know expedience is super important with police work.
That's why we will do this work.
Yeah.
That would be very funny. Yeah, so I mean, Sam and Dean leave, but like this is it's over, but it's like not resolved.
No.
A, because holy shit, the kid killed himself. B, because Sam is now like, I really wanted to get through to him.
I'm connected to this thing.
We're connected to this. And C, because it's like, if this kid is connected to it, then like, how big is this thing? What is Sam part of?
And Sam realizes that it was their father that helped stabilize them after the tragedy that befell their family.
Yeah.
And wonders if the demon is after Sam and Max both.
Yeah.
Like, how big does this go?
But also, like, what a moment for Sam to be like, maybe it's good we had Dad.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's good we had our dad.
Well, exactly.
Specifically, you know? Like, Max had a dad and it went horribly.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's, it's a moment for Sam. Dean, I think, appreciates it, but, like, they both know that this is the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of big revelations out of this. Whatever that demon is that John is hunting, it did not only go after their family.
Exactly. This is opening up a lot of other questions.
Yeah.
Sam also reveals that he used his own telekinesis to get out of the closet. Sam wonders if Dean is concerned about him getting out of control like Max.
Yeah. Dean is saying, like, what does it want? Why is it... Or Sam is saying, like, what does this demon want? Why would it kill our moms? Why would it kill Jessica? Why do we have powers? Maybe it was after us for some reason.
Yeah. Well, what's the purpose of this all?
Yeah.
Which is classic Sam's trying to figure out the, like...
Well, Sam is not just thinking 3 feet in front of him like Dean, right? He's drawing the logical conclusion. There must be more to it.
And Dean's just like, this is just something that happened to our family, and we're going to kill it.
Yeah,
like, that's
we'll
all.
Find the thing. We'll kill the thing. It will be over.
Yeah, there's no deeper meaning.
Yeah, which is wishful thinking from Dean.
Yeah, he just wants it to be a bad thing because that's his whole life. Is that there's bad things out there, you kill them, and that's so you don't have to worry about any asking questions about it. I mean, very much sort of season 1, right? Which is
yes.
Like, Dean is just a blunt object that finds a thing and kills it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and again, like, the fact that Sam even physically moved something with his mind, that's new.
Yeah.
The visions we kind of knew about. They obviously are very acute in this episode. But then also he fucking moved something with his mind. Like, something is happening to Sam.
Yeah. Things are getting... Things are raising up. They're getting more extreme.
Yeah.
Dean assures Sam that as long as he's around, nothing bad's going to happen, though.
Yeah. Which is classic brothers.
My brother.
Yeah.
Nothing bad's going to happen to you.
Oh, Sammy.
Oh, Sammy.
Oh, Sammy.
Very matter of fact with Dean in this. He really doesn't like to sort of think about his brother anything bad happening to him or things that he doesn't understand. Dean's very much like he has everything. The world's black and white to him. Like, you do a bad thing,
Dean is a big
you're
proponent
a
of, like, compartmentalization.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you do something bad, you're a monster. You don't do something bad, you're not a monster.
If you're a monster, you die.
Yeah.
So now Sam's really bleeding those lines together of potentially, like, showing monster-like abilities. And,
you know, and I'm sure Dean is also in some level thinking of, like, what if Sam gets more like Max?
I love this. Dean's like, I know what we need to do with these premonitions. We got to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Totally, like, just trying to, like, silver line this thing and make it fun.
It is kind of a nice note to end on because this is a pretty heavy episode.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get a little bit of a joke. And then we do get a look from Dean that's like, I'm making jokes, but it is kind of nice to have that moment in there. Just
Absolutely.
a little relief, you know. Wow. Nightmare.
What an episode. We are beyond halfway through the season.
I want to, I've said it all the way through this. That actor playing Max is incredible in this episode. And the episode hinges on it, and it's a good thing it does, because he is the one that sells it all. And it's, story-wise, we're getting, like, what is the version of Sam that didn't have the luck he had? Sam sees himself as this, like, trod on kind of like black sheep of the family. But even by the end, he's like, thank God we had Dad. Because look at what happened to Max. They maybe on paper had a better life. They lived in a nice house. They had the nice family and friends and that. They weren't like on the road using guns. But Max's life was horrible. It corrupted him, turned him into this thing of hate, and ultimately led Max to kill himself. And we see all of those things in Max's performance, which is incredible. Such a huge part of this
Brandon
episode.
Fletcher, yeah.
The CG, like we said, the knife and the gun
so good.
is better than I would expect to see on
now
in the Arrowverse.
Now, yeah.
It looks better than like the slow motion arrows or things
Yeah, and that was 15 years ago.
That was 15 years ago. Very impressed with that because it would be very easy to look bad. I mean, it's not like you can't tell. You can definitely tell, but it's good.
It's not like
it's not cheesy,
glaring.
It's not cartoony. Really, really good there. Love the dramatic like twists of like whether or not you're seeing a vision. They sure play that well.
Especially that Dean
Dean moment. Legitimately, I was like, what?
I just got to see him have sex in the previous episode. You can't take him away from me now.
It was too soon.
There's still an opportunity for penetration.
Yeah, that was my primary concern.
Yeah, it's always my concern.
Yeah, and like we said, this episode moves the main story of the show forward a big step, which
opens up a whole bunch of questions.
We've gotten, got a tiny little bit in Phantom Traveler with the demon mentioning to Sam that he knew something about Jessica.
Yes.
We got a little bit at the end of Bloody Mary where Sam's Bloody Mary vision says you knew that Jessica was going to die.
Yeah.
We get a little bit in Home, obviously, where they see Mary and they're dealing with their actual childhood home.
Yeah.
And then we see John.
Yeah.
And then we get now. This is the
Huge
building momentum of the big like Winchester arc. So it's really cool for that. I love this episode. I think it's really compelling. There's great character stuff, great brother stuff.
Yeah.
Great, like not a monster, but great powers.
Yeah.
I really, really like this one. I'm going to give this 4.5 carbon monoxide deaths.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that this is one of those episodes I always look forward to every time I rewatch the series.
Yeah.
I think it's got some incredible acting in it. It's you get a couple fun moments in it and some legit cool supernatural stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
The tension, I mean, you're getting the
because you really don't know what it is for a long time, and they can't figure it out. There's no cold spots.
Well, exactly, right? You're getting Beth Broderick, Zelda Spellman in this, who's an incredible actress. Brendan Fletcher is doing an incredible job. Really some heavy lifting done that the boys don't even really have to do that much. They really just run from place to place. That insane decapitation.
Yeah.
The like knife through her head, like so many, the shot of Dean in the head, like everything is so palpable and like impactful.
If you could say it, they're good kills.
They are though.
Yeah, for like a horror series, they're good kills, Very Final Destination-y.
Yeah. So I will give this episode 4.75 barely edible cocktail sausages.
Wow. 4.75. That's big. That's big. That's the highest you have ever ranked anything.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite episodes. I always look forward to this every time we get to it.
Yeah.
This is a
great one.
This is a really, really good episode. And for me...
Do you know what? I have to amend mine.
Yeah?
I'm looking at how I've ranked other things.
Yeah.
I don't have a complaint in this episode.
Yeah.
I'm giving this 5.
Whoa! That means that anything in the future to come will be as good as this.
This and Wendigo are both ranked 5.
Wow.
Remember, we got to contain our rankings
season to season.
to season.
Yes.
This is not like full show.
No.
1 to 5 scale.
No. It's because it would just be would have
too
to be
crazy.
a 1 to 10.
It's
There would be no way to do that. So I think, also you're getting so many new things to blow out this show and what it could be.
Yeah.
That's what's so exciting about this, and what I think Supernatural constantly is doing is going, oh, you think you know how big this world is, it's even bigger.
Exactly.
And so now bringing in this question to this mystery that you had thought was, well, this thing happened to this family, a demon did something to their family, they're gonna have to kill it. Now it's like, whoa, if other people are involved, what does that even mean? Why would other families be involved?
Yeah.
How big does this get?
So many questions. Yeah.
It's going straight to the White House.
What do you mean the White House?
Yes.
Like the anti-Tana.
Yeah, so good. The 1970 investigative reporter. Yeah. So good. I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
And it's such a pleasure to get to this episode every single season. Every time I rewatch the show.
Yeah. I think we're getting into a good stretch of episodes now too.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is classic Supernatural, which is like, it always is good, but it ramps up in the second half of every season.
Definitely.
And it just gets better and better and better.
Like most TV, but
Yeah.
when Supernatural does it, it feels you can kind of feel it.
Palpable for sure.
Yeah.
So that's it for this week. If you have a note about this or maybe a future episode, or you just want to say hi to us and talk about Supernatural online, you can also email us.
Ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
Or reach out to us through our various social media platforms.
That's right. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @GhostfacersPod.
We're often just thirsting over Dean, but we can also engage in any sort of conversation that you want. We're playing games on Instagram, like your favorite episodes, talking about some of our favorite tropes that we've seen throughout the season. So whether you're a new fan or returning for your millionth rewatch like me,
if you have to fill that gap in your soul now that the show is done and you're going back for the full rewatch,
fill in that gap. Where is Dean?
Hell
yeah. And of course, if you love this show and you want even more of what we can provide content-wise on social media, we also have another podcast that you might be interested in.
That's right. You can check out the Dr. DC podcast. It's a comic book podcast about DC Comics. We answer questions. We talk about characters and stories. Doesn't matter if you've never read a comic or if you've read all the comics. Weirdly connected to Supernatural.
A lot of parallels
in terms of, story and even conceptions of, afterlife and demons and things like that.
There's a lot
things that we've been talking about. There's a lot of crossover. So
and we bring it up,
and we talk about it a lot. So yeah, check that out too.
All right, say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.